My opponent was Ralph Åkesson. He's a very experienced Swedish grandmaster. I have already played against Ralph before several times. I believe I have won all of the games. So, but I'm also quite lucky because every single time I'm playing against Åkesson with the white color. So again, I mean, this time I was playing with white and it was quite funny. Before the game, I thought, I'm gonna play knight of 3. I sat on the board, I thought for a while, I thought, okay, but I'm gonna play e4, right? So, just before the game, I had some different ideas. I looked at the opponent, and something told me I have to start with e4. And Åkesson plays several continuations. He has e6, he has c6, he even plays Sicilian. But okay, here he played the caro-kann. And about the caro-kann, if you have watched this, is it okay? Yeah, I'll explain the ideas. Yes, you can ask. You can ask the ideas. You can ask the questions. And you might remember a story I told you some time before how I came up with this line. Because it was also in Swedish League, maybe even the previous weekend. No, not the previous weekend, previous season. We were playing against a very strong team. Against Lund, maybe. Okay, but I don't remember which team. And I'm playing against Ari and Tari, obviously Norwegian number 2 behind Magnus Carlsen. And he's a top 100 player in the world, young and talented and everything. And on the second board was playing Jon Ove the Hammer, Norway's number 3. And he played this system against, I don't remember who, doesn't matter. And I looked at his game at the time and I thought, oh my goodness, I have never played this. And I played it and I beat Ari. I had this knowledge, nothing. I just knew the move, I just knew some ideas, that's it. I invented everything after that. It was not very good. Tari was pressing for the victory for the most of the part of the game, but I managed to trick him and I won the game. Anyway, that's the story. And ever since, I have looked up at some lines. So it's, again, not very deep knowledge, but mainly idea is that I like this. I like this endgame. So it seems that white is struggling, right? I mean, yeah, the king's on d1 and it seems that black has no weaknesses. But somehow, if white is allowed to get this position, now check this out. Knight e1 and knight d3 and f3. When you start to look more closely, you realize this king is actually going to c2. And it's closer to the queen side. You get a lot of improvisation with a4, b4, space advantage, you name it. And these 3 pawns, they sort of limit what black can do at a king side. And this is not very obvious. And so many people go here. But guess what? Engine likes white. This oddity, Engine likes it. So I play d3. I'm like, let's do this. Let's go for this endgame. Listen, I would love to play that. You play bishop g4, my first expression. Bummer. Okay, there's nothing I can do about that. But I had checked this move very briefly before, so I knew h3 has got to be the move, right? And now, this is not very good. Because you think, oh, takes, queen d1, king d1, bishop f3, g takes, your pawn structure is not very good. You just take on g4. Take it, queen f3. And you notice this rook is very active, right? So think about ideas like g5, bishop d2, long castle. Hello, Brett's Gambit, how are you? And this pawn on h7, it's shaky, yeah? A bit shaky, and it might be in trouble, or maybe even at some point you could ruin black's pawn structure. So that's why it's not good. I was expecting that he probably is gonna take on f3, and after queen f3, that's it, my knowledge ends. Yeah, I know nothing here. Tell you honestly, I know nothing. Just normally develop the pieces, I guess, the same. Knight c3, maybe g4, h4, something, you know, push aggressively forward. Try to utilize the last square bishop somehow. Who knows? Anyway, he played bishop h5, which makes sense. By the way, dear viewers, if you want to get better, listen to the advice of a grandmaster. And I'm telling you, not always keeping the tension is a good idea. Not always. And this is one of the most common mistakes that people keep doing. They think, when you play bishop g4, h3, I have to automatically retreat bishop h5 and keep this pressure. Well, sometimes this is actually a pretty dangerous idea. Yeah, I'm gonna do the analysis, don't worry about that, I'm just explaining the thought process. So now black actually needs to worry about g4 at some point, and the bishop on g6, maybe it's not gonna be very good. So knight c3, this is best move according to the engine. You know, to be honest, I'm not even sure I would play this move if I wouldn't know. Engine says this, but before the game I checked it, I knew knight c3, like top choice. Okay, Avatar. And now the idea is if you play something like e6, now this is where the game gets really strange. So you get to play g4, bishop g6, and h4. So you're going after this bishop, and there's some very interesting ideas. Now check this out. I think it was something like take it. Let me try to remember. And was it h5? h5. Check this out. So take it. I sacrifice a pawn. H takes is impossible. The rook is under attack. And after f takes, queen takes on f3. I think, yeah, queen f3, bishop d2, bishop h3, and there's some problems. It's very weird, and maybe you're looking at this position, you're thinking, wait, I mean, black is up a pawn and should be doing okay. I mean, no, I mean, actually black is worse, according to the engine. And I sort of knew this idea. And there's even a funnier line. If black plays bishop takes on h5, with the idea not to open the e-file, check this one. Knight e5. And nothing changes. And you go back, bishop g6, take on g6. Again, you can't play h takes on g6 because the rook is under attack. And I play knight e4. And again, you simply give up the pawn. Thank you for the raid, Planet Chess Club. Just a second. Hope you had a wonderful stream. I'm laughing Gramstra to Neiksans. I just started the stream and I'm showing my games from the previous weekend's Swedish League matches. I'm 26th level Hungry Grandmaster, Latvian player, in general a nice guy. Hello. I think I wasted my explanation of who I am. Anyway, I mean, that's the entire point of this silly sequence. And this h4, you know, it's actually very tricky to meet, because once again this d takes on e4 doesn't work. And now check out this one. If you play h6, knight e5 is a move. I think it was knight e5, bishop h7, and there's some very weird lines like f4, you gain a lot of space, or I think there was even something like, what was it, h5, bishop h7, and bishop d2 and g5 ideas. You know, it's so romantic, it's so interesting, it's so fun. It's really great. And I thought, okay, you know, I do think I'm a stronger player. I mean, at least the rating says so. I'm the younger player with more energy. I thought, okay, just let's go for some fun, right? And some weirdness. And he played e4. And I was like, yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Planet Chess Club. Appreciate that. Yeah, you see you around. And he plays d4. And what on earth is this? Because I do not know this move. I don't think it even exists. Now, naturally, the idea is attack the knight and take the center. But check this out. I'm thinking, now listen, the entire king side belongs to me. I can play g4, bishop g2, improvise a lot, and there is no pressure in the center. So I'm thinking, of course I have at least a couple of good moves here. I can play knight e2, attack the pawn on e5, and he's probably going to take on f3 and take it. He's probably going to play e5, and I'm thinking, so what, right? I'm going to play f4, I'm going to play whatever, bishop g2, short castle, destroy the center, I should be doing great. So I don't really get this move d4. Then I'm thinking, Okay, there's also knight b1. I mean, if I really care about my pawn structure, which I don't, right? I'm threatening to play g4 still. g4, h4, h5 idea is the same ideas all over again. And here's a trick. He could take on f3, queen f3, and play e5. You know, sort of solidify the situation in the center, which I felt, I mean, this has got to be a very good position for me. Because I'm going to play something like bishop e2 here, f4, knight c4, c3, and it feels like a great king's in position to me. That's my thought process. But you know, something is not right about this entire approach, and I have a feeling there's even more. There's even more. And I can play knight e2, I can play knight b1, and I'm, hey, Yuko. And I'm looking at something else. Do you know what I'm looking at? Suddenly, Morozovich spirit wakes up in me, and I'm thinking, listen, I gotta play g4. And Chescom likes it. So, where's the point? Now, after bishop g6, I have knight e2, and I'm avoiding the trade. And if he accepts on c3, now you're gonna love these lines. So I take on h5. Now it's equal, right? I mean, a piece for a piece. So he's gotta take on b2. I take on b2. He played like queen f8 check, and he says, hey, you lose the pawn on h5. Did you blunder that? And initially I thought, okay, listen, I can always just play knight e2. Yeah, because you see the queen on d1 protects the pawn on h5. But the more I'm thinking, before I play g4, I'm thinking it before. I'm thinking about it here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thinking about, can I now play g4, because knight e2, knight b1, still I have valid choices. I'm thinking here, takes, 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 queen a5. Now I find queen d2. And I start to love this position, because after queen takes on h5, knight e5. This queen is suddenly completely shut off from the game. I have bishop e2, I have rook g1, I have queen b4. So my calculations pretty much stopped after I saw something like knight e7, nyam nyam. No, I didn't really calculate bishop e2. I thought that I have the center, I have the two bishops, I have the weak king. I mean, this has got to be really good for me, because the big question is, do I really care that I have this pawn on b3 to be happy with this position? No, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, okay, I could have the pawn on a3, right? Let's say I would have b takes on a3, and we would have a material equality on the board. And I know some people really are afraid to give the pawns. I mean, not me. Actually, here I think rook b1, I can get to this pawn on b7. And the king on d7, his underdeveloped pieces, they're gonna cost him. How much time did I have to think about this? It was pretty quick. It was pretty quick. Actually, I thought that if he goes here, I have to take with the king, you know, I have to activate the king. I mean, Magnus all the way. But the king on e3, activate the king. Rook g1, h6 ideas, rook b1. I mean, I thought I'm gonna play the immortal game right here. So I was very, very excited about my prospects. And he plays bishop g6. I was like, nah. Okay, but there. So he plays bishop g6. Now I can simply play knight e2. And suddenly there's a problem. He has problems to defend the pawn on d4. So the natural choice, I'm thinking, he's got to play e5. Which is a very natural move, at least in my eyes, because obviously knight e5, queen a5 is a very basic trick, which you can learn from some openings. So you simply can't do that. I mean, okay, technically you can do that. I mean, something like c3, take it, and you win back the piece with a 4 f5. But you know why? Why do this? Right? There's just no good reason. Queen e7, f5, queen h4, king d2. I just saw this line. But who plays like this? Yeah, for content, but who plays like this? I mean, I'm gonna win back the piece, and why? Simply why? So I thought that after e5, there's c3. Now I'm threatening to take. And if he takes it, simply b takes. And at some point here, I simply stopped calculating. I thought, I mean, this has got to be great for me. The bishop on g6 is silly. I have bishop g2. I can think about future ideas. f4, d4, rook b1, maybe h4, h5 ideas. I was very, very optimistic about this, although he should have played this. He should have went here. He did not. Now, the pawn on e5 is under attack, and the only way to defend it, the other way to defend it, is c5. And again, I was looking here at many moves, because there's so many tempting moves. I was looking at h4. I really wanted to play this because this is so in the spirit of the caro-kann. He plays, let's say, h6, knight e5, here. I'm gonna play g5, you know? And when I saw this, I really wanted to go here because there's some ideas like g6, imprison the bishop, queen c7, bishop f4. Now, this bishop is protected, knight g6 or knight f7 is a threat. I thought this is so exciting, and he's to be crushed very quickly. Yeah, but there was a problem. There was a problem in the entire sequence. I realized he's gonna play f6. This is what he wants. And if I'm gonna play knight f4, there's e5. It's just not enough. So I still have a very good position, it's just not enough. And that's why my thought process was to play e5 and maybe threaten to play e6, cut off his entire army in two halves, the queen side, the king side, and protect the pawn with something like knight f4. But unfortunately, he can stop it. And the biggest problem, I could not properly evaluate how better is this position for me. How much better is this position? Because I knew for sure this is a great position. Think about bishop g2, queen e2, bishop d2. His bishop on f7 is so ridiculous. I mean, it's just terrible. And I couldn't understand if I am going for this position, or instead I'm going for the very natural c3. So after c3, I include the idea of queen b3, queen a4, combined with ideas of knight e5, maybe h4 later, and I thought c3 is pretty smart. It's pretty smart, right? Because once again, if he takes it, I play with b takes on c3, rook b1, knight f4, h4, h5. For example, check this out. Check out this line. Let's say knight c6, rook b1. How do you protect the pawn on b7? A rook b8 is bishop f4. How do you protect it? I guess queen d7. How about h4? How do you protect the bishop? I guess something like h5. How do you feel about g5? Here. Queen b3 at some point. So I saw so many interesting ideas here, and he decided not to do it. He played knight c6, which essentially gives up the pawn. How about b6? Yeah, maybe he can play b6. He did play knight c6. You want to investigate this line more, yeah? After c3 takes here. I think something like b6, you have to be incredibly careful. Why is this? Because you see this bishop on c8, it's not guarding the light squares. So it's somewhere on the other side of the board, and this is something you cannot really fix if the position is going to open. Think about knight f4, d4, bishop b5 ideas. I'm not really sure how to make it work, but probably knight f4. So I'm already threatening h4, and you don't have h5 because I'm gonna snatch the bishop on g6. So what are you gonna do? Probably something like e5, right? I'm gonna take it here, take it. I'm gonna play queen a4, attacking the knight on c6. So what do you do? What do you do? So let's say you play something like rook c8. I'm gonna play d4. I mean, okay, I could just take on e5. And now you start to appreciate the power of the light squared bishop I have on f1. And this is one of the problems, that you position the bishop on g6. You have difficulties to attend your weaknesses at the queen side. And he understood that. I mean, he's also a grandmaster. Okay, he's maybe slightly older right? I mean, he was higher rated player before. He has lost some rating, but still he's a very good GM, and he understood it, the dangers, and he played knight c6, and he decided to give up the pawn because now the pawn on d4 is gone. That's it. You can't protect it. I have 3 attacking pieces. So he decided to sacrifice the pawn. Try to get some lead in development, which is pretty good idea. He played e5. This is Swedish League. I simply snatched the pawn. There's no tricks, no nothing. Free pawn. And after bishop b4, you know, I'm thinking, I mean, king d1 is gotta be the right move. I cannot even explain it, why it's the right move, because no matter what I do, my king is walking. So what, right? I mean, it's feeling pretty secure on d1 or d2. And I felt that king d1 at the intuitive level is stronger, because I evaluated black's bishop on b4 as a much worse piece. Can you believe that? Because I thought that I'm gonna play something like a3, b4, push away the bishop. This bishop on c1 is going to protect my king with something like d2, and it's gonna have a very nice control of many diagonals, most notably e1, a5, and c1, h6. An engine likes it, by the way. So king d1, I keep the bishop on c1. The knight on c6 is still under attack, and knight e7. And now I have a question to you, the viewers. How do you play now? So imagine yourself, you're up a pawn in this position. There's some problems with your king's safety. How do you continue to play? This is incredibly important, because it's quite important to understand what you have won does not win the game. No, no, and no again. Do not exchange everything, because this is, Kanispika, one of the biggest mistakes that people keep doing. And I have done a bootcamp, in case you're interested, educational stream. I call it GM Neiksans bootcamp, in my name, obviously. About converting material advantage. Probably I'm gonna have to do it again, like from different perspective. Think about this. If you have a considerable lead in material, sure, you can trade. Let's say white here has an extra piece. I don't argue. What are we arguing about? Like, simplify the position. Take the knight, play bishop d2, trade the bishops, queens, you name it. But you're up only a pawn. It's not enough. It's just a pawn. So from my perspective, nothing really changes. So I want a pawn. I want more. Because I simply understand it's just not enough. Knight f5? Knight f5 is not a legal move, Planet Chess Club. No, I just play chess. f4. Because I'm threatening to take on c6 and win this bishop here on g6. So, continue taking space. And actually here, of course I have to watch out for some crazy ideas like bishop e4, d takes, d3, knight c3. Yeah, but I didn't really believe it. I mean, if this is ever gonna work, I mean, if there's no direct threats, the black king is in the center, how come you're gonna trick me here? Yeah, engine very quickly says this is ridiculous. So he has to play f6. Now eliminate the bishop, because it could become really strong here on f7. Yeah, knight takes on g6. This was pretty strong. I think, much stronger than knight g6. What should they do in Latvia? Now it's not the right time to talk about it. Maybe I'm gonna mention it after the game, because I'm also from Latvia, obviously. And I felt that this was the better chance, because it opens the h-file. There's some g5 ideas, fight for some dark squares, like this. Bishop d6, queen c7, g5, sacrifice another pawn, put the knight on e5, even though it's not very good, probably. This is how I would have played it. He played knight g6. Now, here I had a long think. Because when I'm looking at the position, I'm thinking, probably black wants to castle short, right? And attack me at the queen side. So the first thought process is I'm thinking I should stop it. I stop him from castling short. So he probably plays queen e7. I play something like h4, a bishop h3 ideas. He castles long. And then I start to, again, wonder, what exactly did I achieve? I mean, he's gonna play king b8, whatever, and doesn't feel right. Why did I stop him from castling short at all, when I have so many pawns at the king side? This was my thought process. So I'm thinking, if you want to castle short, castle short. So I play h4. And the idea is that he sort of wants to castle it, but I'm not talking him out of this. So here, after short castle, check, here, h5. Yeah, this is what I wanted. And I have some h6 ideas. But mainly, I wanted to play a3 and land the queen on e6. So this queen on e6 is limiting his potential to organize some counterplay. And then think about h6 ideas. Maybe b4, bishop b2, bishop d2, bishop d1, rook g1, g5 ideas. And I have a feeling he simply will have to trade queens, because this queen on e6 is so annoying for black. You just can't get rid of it normally. It's very difficult to find how to get rid of the queen, like rook e8 and then what? So I decided to allow him to castle, and he didn't do it. He played back, knight e7, which I thought it was pretty weird. Now I pushed away this bishop, because, like I already explained to you, I felt that this bishop on d2 is stronger than this poor soul on b6, and I think I'm right. Because imagine, I'm gonna open this diagonal here. There's so many squares this bishop controls. This bishop on b6, what does it even control? I mean, what? There's nothing, nothing, nothing. On c7, on b6, there's nothing to do for the bishop. So, when you're wondering about the trades, even in such a position where you have an extra pawn, it's very important you simply count the number of the squares they control, either now or in a near future. So we go back here. This seems ridiculous, right? So you think the bishop on b4 is such a very strong piece, maybe even going here back on bishop b4 check. So bishop d2 is very natural choice, because you think the bishop on b4 is so good piece. But actually, when you think a bit deeper, you realize the bishop on c1 is going to become stronger. Yeah, maybe, okay, it's slightly deep. So, yeah, a6 was pretty weird. And now I start to rearrange my pieces. Yeah, I mean, it takes some understanding, I guess. Maybe I'm wrong, you know? Maybe somebody else is gonna tell that you have to trade the bishops, you know, it's easier to play, etc. But I still think it's not enough. I mean, extra pawn is not enough. The game is not over. I do not change my strategy. He played bishop c7, whatever. Yeah, queen e6. And about here, I tell you very honestly, I thought this game's over. Completely. I mean, I thought that's it, 1-0. I mean, he's gonna play something like, I thought he's gonna play queen d6, takes. I thought I'm gonna play g5, bishop h3, rook c1. I'm gonna enjoy this game too much. And knight g3, knight h5 at some point to get to these pawns here. I thought, I mean, there's no chance. This is the moment when my opponent started to show his skill. And actually, there's some players like this. There are some players. So actually in Latvia, we have one grandmaster, Normons Miezis. He's exactly like this. He gets a very bad position, and then he starts to fight like a lion, like a cornered lion, basically. Yeah, it's very difficult to beat. So I mean, I'm playing this position still. Obviously, I'm I'm in charge of the position, and I check out the next move, which is a complete shocker to me. I was like, what? What is even b5? I mean, what do you even want to tell with b5? I mean, I do not get this move. Of course, I see the idea. I see the idea is to play bishop d6 at a5. I just do not believe it's going to work. But it makes sense, because he stops the b pawn. If he plays here a5, tries to open the queen side, I just play b5. I close it, because this is where my king is. So it does make sense. So he plays b5, I just cannot really believe it can work. So I ignore it, whatever, g5. Yeah, g5. I mean, bishop g to e5 maybe was also winning somewhere. Maybe actually it was a bit cleaner, to be honest. Yeah, this bishop g2, I like it. Forcing the queen trade. Yeah, but he can play maybe... No, it's actually pretty clean, by the way, yeah. Rook c8 and e5, I like that. I really do. Actually, it forces the queen trade. I didn't think I have to force the queen trade, because, you know, my mindset is... I have the queen on e6, he's gonna trade the queens, not me. He is gonna trade it. But maybe you're right, actually, this bishop g2 makes perfect sense. So I ignored it. I thought, I'm gonna go after the pawn on f6. Now he is gonna play queen d6, so we are gonna get what I want. a5. And I realized, wait, I slightly misplayed it. Because my initial idea was, I'm gonna take this pawn. But he plays rook f8. There's nothing. And he has a counterplay at the queen side. I mean, look at the queen side. Of course, if you switch on the engine is gonna say like +5. Yeah, you play queen g5 here. Engine says queen h5 here. Engine says bishop h3, etc. But is this such a controlled manner to win the game? Yeah, maybe. You know, there's bishop e6, but I didn't really feel it's so obvious. Because, I mean, he's about to organize two passed pawns on the queen side. So, what I did, I just played rook c1, attacking the rook with the rook on c6, bishop on c7, and now the critical moment. Every single move, I'm calculating like crazy. And now check out what I'm looking at. Can you try to calculate? Who can do it? I want to take on c6. He can't take on c6. The queen is attacking the king. Queen e6 is rook e6. So rook c6, queen c6. Now bear with me. Stay with me. I take on d4. Attack the queen. I protect the queen. So probably he takes it, right? I take it. Now my knight is on e6. Attacks the bishop. Attacks the pawn. Probably he plays bishop d6. I'm thinking I'm gonna take on g7 with a check. Probably king f7. I'm thinking I can take on f6. And probably he's gonna take on f6. I'm gonna play knight h5, e5, bishop h3, you name it. Very interesting dynamic game. I have, what do I have? Like 3 pawns for the exchange. Are you still in this position? Or you probably lost it. But in this moment, after rook c6, knight e4, queen e6, knight e6, bishop d6, knight g7, king f7, g6, and f6, I suddenly notice that he's not really obliged to take on f6. He can take on b4. If I take on e7, he takes on a3, he creates very strong pass pawns. So I take it. He gives me a check here, and rook a2. And he's threatening bishop b4. And you know what is the most craziest part of this line? I simply hallucinate. The pawn is still standing on d4. I physically do not see king e3. Okay, I'm gonna show you. I just want you to, I wanted you to try to calculate with me. So do you understand what I'm thinking? Because the pawn still stands here on d4. Stupid mistake. So I'm thinking take. I'm thinking take. 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 This was the line we calculated, right? Take. This is what I saw, and I mean, e5, knight h5, there's many interesting ideas. Take. Take. Check. Here, here. This is what I saw from afar. How many moves is it ahead? I mean, 6 moves ahead. And I don't see king e3 physically. I don't see. This move doesn't exist. And I don't see how to avoid this perpetual attack. And I slightly panicked. So of course king e3 is a move, but by the way, the position is still not super clear, yeah? So I didn't see king e3 at all, but I really wanted to play rook c6, and let me tell you why. Because I want to simplify the position. This is one way to simplify the position. You know, I don't really know if this final position is so simple, but at least I get to trade a lot of pieces. And this is essentially when you're trying to transpose from one position where you have a large advantage in middle game, like extra pawn, some space advantage, you name it, to the second position, which is closer to the end game, where you have a very solid advantage, but it's much easier to play. Now, this step from point A to point B, this is where everybody is going nuts. I mean, everybody, this is the most difficult part in chess. Converting material advantage, point A to point B. And that's why I'm talking about this rook c6. Do you think I'm doing it for fun? I'm just trying to sacrifice the exchange. I'm thinking what is the cleanest way. Try to win this position and get to something much more easier to play. Thank you, Cartoon. Really, really appreciate that. And I just didn't see this pawn on d4 at all. It's not clean. Let's just call it like this. It's not clean. And I was looking at this for something like 10 minutes. When I realized I can't do it. I cannot do it, and it was so annoying, you know, because you invest so much time into an idea, it just doesn't work. And the clock is ticking and ticking. Yeah, maybe queen b3 is simpler, yeah, maybe, but he goes here, he plays rook a4, starts to attack the pawn on b4, which is, by the way, probably not even a threat, because I can just sacrifice it. Yeah, maybe queen b3, but I played queen a6 myself, and this is like here. I played queen a6. Am I stepping back now? So I decided to continue. And after rook c1, queen d6, I played bishop h3, which was a very logical move. Thank you for the sub, Cartoon. Really, really appreciate it. Welcome to the family. I develop another piece, which is an extremely logical move. My opponent takes on b4 and rook a3. I was like, come on! I mean, come on, because I was crushing this guy here. This was completely my game, and now I have major difficulties to protect the pawn on d3. This is not what I wanted. And again, I tell you this. I mean, Akison is very good at practical chances, right? He completely misplayed the opening. It was, to be honest, a bit funny how very quickly he got a losing position after, what, 13 moves. So that's why I thought, I mean, come on, this is going to be easy. And only now he starts to play, and I have major problems to protect the pawn on d3. Not rook a2. I talked only about rook a2. Rook a3. So what can I do, right? I mean, I don't see a very clear way how I can keep my advantage. I have to play rook c5 and rook b5. But I see this position that I'm unhappy. I'm unhappy because, I mean, I realize I'm still winning. And this is what keeps me composed. But I'm slightly tilted, you know, because I was supposed to play this very clean game with no counterplay whatsoever. I mean, does this position seem like a no counterplay position to you? No. And I have to watch out for some tricks now, although nothing has happened. And by the way, if you ask it to the engine says, chill, dude. I mean, there's nothing. Okay. By the way, I need to watch out for this spin here. And my initial idea was that after rook f8, I'm gonna play something like knight c1. Which is, by the way, according to the engine, still legal move. It's just, there's some ideas. Yeah, there's some tricks. So look at this. The only move according to the engine, king b1, +4. Okay, this is not me, obviously, right? I mean, I don't get this. I don't understand that this is +4. And that the only move by the which wins. I see this idea that exchange sacrifice on d2 is happening after knight c1. I'm not gonna do that. And that's why I play g takes on f6. So the idea is I want to include g takes to make sure this rook on f8 is not doing nothing and take it one step at a time. One step at a time, because this is now a crazy position. We had at this position something like 5 minutes. 5 minutes each on the clock. This is move 27. This means we still have to make 13 moves to reach move 40 to get extra 13 minutes. This is a classical game, by the way, dear viewers. Over the board game, classical game. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I do not understand this position completely. I mean, I have some ideas. You saw how we got there. This is the kind of position we have to play. Right? I mean, big respect, of course, to my opponent who managed to complicate this game from such a incredibly bad opening. Okay, so he took on e6. Hello, proud disappointment. I took on e6 and rook f6. So he's trying to activate rook, which makes sense. By the way, why queen e6? Because if he takes it, there's a fork, right? So that's why he takes on e6. He takes on e6, he takes rook f6, and he's trying to somehow activate the pieces. Of course, also he does not exactly know how to keep this position together, but he's trying. And now? Yeah, now there was a tricky moment. I'm thinking, my first choice, by the way, bishop c4. I want to get rid of this rook from d3. Just go away, you know. He plays here, I play e5. He plays... Oh wait, sorry, not e5. I thought initially king c2. Yeah, king c2, bishop d3, knight c1, try to consolidate my position. I see this check. Bishop d3. I see this check. King c1. I don't like this. Although I see I don't see what's wrong with my position. My position feels a bit shaky. Yeah, according to Vengeance, this is one way to play it out. I don't like this. I mean, rook a1, bishop b1, the only move I have to pick up. Or maybe you remove the knight from c6, some rook c6 check ideas. What about rook g6, rook g2 here? I'm never gonna go here. I mean, I'm not gonna leave it to a chance. So, that's why I decided not to play this. On e5, rook g6, there's rook g2 ideas. I mean, why activate his pieces? So, I made a call of judgment here that you need to lock the rook at f6. I know it gives up the e5 square. I know it. But it's just a safer move, really. And now this rook is not playing. This knight is not playing. And I felt that this is much more secure for me in time trouble. So Engines like it, by the way. So g6. Knight c1, I push away the rook. Here. And now finally a breather. Yeah, okay. Now I know. Now I know I'm going to win this game for sure. The worth is passed because rook f8 is f6, f7. For example, you just win so much material. The king on e1 is perfectly safe, so nothing really is happening. Yeah, and I thought that, okay, that's it. The game is about to finish in any move. He gave up the exchange. Now, very natural for people who are in trouble. They're seeking their final chances. You know, d3, knight e4. Okay, I thought, what's the big deal? Rook f1, I'm gonna activate it. My rook on h1. And suddenly, I was like, wait. It's a fork. It's a fork on the rook on b5 and the knight on e6. Because I thought, that's it. After rook b7, he resigns. He plays knight e6. And I was like, what? How did this happen? So I still have an exchange, but it's not so obvious. Okay, and then I know this. It's so ridiculous. And then I noticed this trick. After rook c7, knight c7, bishop f4. So that was a minor blunder, to be honest. I did not intend this. I did not intend to do this. So this rook f1, it's a very logical move. But I simply blundered that after rook b7, I think that's it, he resigns. I simply blundered after knight e6, he protects the bishop with knight e6. Otherwise, I would just play rook b7, you know, that's it. It's just winning immediately. And then play rook f1. And then play rook f1, rook f7, and you just dominate the position. Anyway, we went to this position. I play bishop f4. Wait, the game's not finished. I mean, this is so funny. The game's not finished. He plays here, I take here, he plays here. Yeah, classic GM calculations. So, I have only 2 pawns. Listen, I need to be careful. I need to be careful. So, imagine yourself in this position. It's your move. What's the first move which jumps to your attention? Obviously, it's knight e3, right? You protect the pawn on b4. Who cares about the pawn on h? Of course, knight e3. Now, what about knight e5 here? I mean, okay, we don't blunder that, right? I mean, sure, bishop f4. But now the question is, are you sure this is such an easy victory? I mean, you had the right corner on h8. I'm talking about the bishop and the right corner for the pawn. But how exactly? I mean, takes and king e2, and if you allow the trade, listen, it's a draw. So I realized, listen, I need to make some quality move here first. So exactly, rook f4. I think that's it. That's it. I nailed it. I nailed the game. So he plays rook e6. I think, okay, listen, I'm still gonna make a drama. You're gonna laugh. So I'm thinking, can I play rook d4, rook c4? Now, which is the right move here? Both of these moves completely winning. Initially, I'm thinking rook c4. Why rook c4? Because I'm avoiding this silly fork. And after knight e5, bishop f4. I see this. I see this. And knight e3 is the next move, or king d2 is the next move. I have to keep the pawn on b4. And that's it. That's it. I mean, there's no tricks, no nothing, you know? Wait. I'm thinking, no, listen. I have a cleaner win. I think this is so dangerous. Thank you, FM Holger Sharp, for the raid. Really appreciate it. How are you? Just a second, I'm gonna give you a shout out. So, all the troubles start. I know the easiest victory, and I did it. So I play rook d4. So rook d4, attacking the pawn on d3, stopping knight e5, and that's it. It forces resignation, right? Check this out. Move 39. Which move 40 are you going to make here? And I'm like, listen, I want to play rook d3, and my card stops. My card just stops here. Yes, I did play rook d8. I realized there's this check. So where's the big deal, you think? Yeah, where's the big deal? So king e1, king e2, there's a check. This bishop is lost. Do you see this sneak attack? So king c3 drops the bishop. Are you like, hooray, it's a victory, yeah? Labdin, hello. I saw this, but my card stopped. I was just so shocked. I even allowed this. So I realized I can't play rook d3. And I'm like, why on earth didn't I play rook c4? Why am I even doing this? But okay, there's rook d8 check. Yeah, there's rook d8 check. And listen, just further from the sin, rook h8, just remove the rook from any forks whatsoever. Just don't mess up with a white king. Knight e3 next, he resigns. I mean, this was such a roller coaster, really. So you can mess up at the very finish line. Don't do that. So be always on your alert.